Governor Don Siegelman, donsiegelman.com or org, his website. You certainly want to check them out and find out what is going on with this case. This is an indicator of the health of democracy in America. Don Siegelman, I before E. Governor, welcome to the program.
Oh, Thom, thank you so much. It's not only trying to figure out what's going on in my case, but trying to figure out what's going on, period.
Yeah.
When we have an Alabama Senator, Jeff Sessions, who is not such a veiled racist, questioning the integrity of Sotomayor is a bit ironic.
Yeah,
but,
and you would know. You're both from the same state, you and Jeff Sessions. I'm curious, I read on the air yesterday your email to me in which you mentioned that it looks like the fix is in, that there was a deal between an Alabama senator, I'm wondering if that's Jeff Sessions, and Eric Holder to keep in place Karl Rove's best friend's wife as the prosecutor in your case. She, whose husband was the campaign manager for your opponent running for governor back in 2002. Is that? Do I have that right?
You've got it. You've got it right as far as we hear. I mean, that's the talk on the street in Alabama, and actually the talk in some African American churches. I was at a civil rights breakfast 2 Sundays ago when an African American state legislator announced from the pulpit that deal had been cut, and that was what was holding up the replacement of the U.S. attorney in Alabama. Of course, there I think only 7 of the U.S. attorneys have been replaced out of all the U.S. attorneys in the United States. So it may not be an issue that is peculiar to Alabama, but it's something that it still needs to be addressed. With all due respect, and I think President Obama is doing a wonderful job, but with all due respect, we voted because we wanted change. If we wanted the Bush-Rove U.S. attorneys to be left in place, then we could have voted for McCain. We could have voted for McCain, and that would have probably likely ended up with more change than what we've gotten so far. So, one has to wonder what is going on. Was there a deal struck to back off of Sotomayor and some of the other more important nominees? I'm not sure, but we do know this, that change is moving very slowly if you look at the replacements of U.S. attorneys. I am slightly encouraged by what I hear are reports that Eric Holder got outraged by the Inspector General's report concerning the approved torture by the Central Intelligence Agency, and perhaps an assassination program by the Central Intelligence Agency. But one has to wonder if we can't do more than one thing at a time.
Yeah, and perhaps he needs to read a report about what kind of torture it is to be thrown into a federal prison when you're an innocent former governor. I mean,
and it's not. And I know, Thom, I want to get this over with for my family's sake and for my sake, and I want to be able to move on and get back to trying to make life better for others and doing something more constructive. But this, in fact, is an important issue, not just because it involves me, but because, as you have said on this program before, this case can lead to the unraveling and the exposure of Karl Rove's misbehavior, not just in this case, but throughout his tenure as the chief of staff to the chief advisor to President Bush, and the misuse of the Department of Justice for political reasons.
Mm-hmm. And that's not going to happen as long as the prosecutor is Laura Canary. And
it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not just Laura Canary, but at the very highest levels of the Department of Justice, we have still in place the Bush-appointed prosecutorial team that prosecutes political figures throughout the country. The Deputy Attorney General, assistant to Lanny Brewer, who was just appointed by Eric Holder, is a Bush appointee. The senior trial attorney is a Bush appointee. And of course, the people in Alabama in place who are prosecuting me are Bush appointees. But yeah, we've got to get this whole line of folks replaced by Eric Holder before there's going to be any chance of justice in my case, or in fact any chance of justice for a number of other people.
These are the people who prosecuted during the Bush administration 7-1, Democrats over Republicans nationwide.
And they're still in place in the Department of Justice today.
That's amazing. It's like there's a cancer there. And typically when a new administration comes in, don't they ask for letters of resignation from all of those political appointees and then replace them summarily?
That was the one thing that George Bush did correctly. He sent letters to everybody the very next day saying, you know, you're fired.
All the Clinton appointees.
So we and then they appointed someone who is acting U.S. attorney until they could get their nominees confirmed, and that's what Eric Holder and President Obama need to get about doing now. And
so, Don, we've got like 10, 15 seconds left. What can people do?
They can call their member of Congress. I know I've said it before, but that's the only hope we have is to get Congress involved and get these people replaced.
Call your member of Congress and ask them to communicate with Eric Holder and with President Obama that the Justice Department needs a thorough house cleaning and that the Don Siegelman case needs to be dealt with by somebody other than a Karl Rove appointee. Is that a good summary?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. And you can get more information about it, and you can toss some help Don Siegelman's way at donsiegelman.com, .siegelman.org. It's I before E, Governor Don Siegelman. Governor, thank you so much for being with us.
Thom, thank you. Bye-bye.
And good luck, sir.